On this episode of the Asking Oz Daily SEO Show, I interview David James from Business Growth Digital Marketing. Boom! We got there in the end.
Cool. That's good news. I'm just bear in a moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, just bear with me a moment.
Yep, it's fine, mate.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you much better now. Fantastic. Not much static either. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Virtue, right?
Yeah, man. But sometimes it cuts in and out. That might be an internet connection issue on either end. Sometimes, like as you're talking,
Okay.
yeah, that could also be a Facebook issue. So we should be fine.
Yeah.
All right, David. Fantastic. Are you ready? Is everything okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
We're good to go.
Yeah, we got there in the end. Everyone's laughing at us now. So, well, as you can tell, mate, I ain't Ray Martin, all right? I don't know how to do this stuff. So everything is absolutely new to me right now. Oh, man.
Look, we'll get you singing and dancing by the end of the video. Yeah, you watch.
You want me to start singing and dancing at the end of the video? All right, done. I'll start singing and dancing. And you wish you've never said that. All right, buddy. So I was just thinking before we got started, I can't even remember. How did we start talking? How did that happen? How do we start? Was it through LinkedIn? Thank you, Manuel.
I thought to you maybe through email or like it was through some kind of project originally, and then we just like worked on a project together, just a small copywriting project, and then ended up talking about SEO, and yeah, just a passion took over, I guess.
Yeah. Cause I was just trying to think back now. I was just going to say, I've known you since then. I'm thinking, but where do I know him from? I can't believe my mind just went blank. Anyway, do you want to, because obviously this is going to go up on our podcast, so would you like to give you, please take a 20-second introduction of who you are, how'd you get into SEO, and where you're from, and you know what to do.
Yep. All right. So my name is David James. I'm an SEO guy, like Andrew. Got into the game back in 2007 full time, but dabbled in it, bits and pieces from about 2003, 2004. I mainly specialize in niche marketing nowadays. So what that means is I look for niches or micro niches and mainly use content marketing strategies to rank sites and then monetize them. I also do that with PPC and just try to generate leads and sales. I also run my own agency like Andrew. So the way I got into the whole agency game was I used to work for the big agencies and wanted to deliver a more superior service. But we'll get into that a bit more in a bit.
Fantastic, mate. So how long have you been running your own business for?
Yeah, so I've been doing my own since 2015.
Fantastic. So what was SEO like back in 2003? What were you? Because I didn't get into the game until 2007. I was playing around with meta tags and descriptions because I was building websites mainly in that year, and my boss at the time came over to me and started saying, because of this SEO thing, you need to actually start tweaking titles and descriptions. And I'm thinking, what do you mean by tweaking? So that was what we were doing. We're kind of like doing a little bit of greyish hat sort of stuff where we would, fill image spaces with keywords. Anyone who's a technical SEO knows what that is. But what were you doing in 2003, 2004? Like, were you just posting up on forums and things like that, or what were you doing?
Well, look, I'll be honest. Like, I was completely new to the game, and I was just trying to figure it out, like most people were back then. So
Mm,
I didn't do anything groundbreaking. The only thing I really did back then was just on-site stuff, and it was
mm,
just very basic on stuff. So, like, your titles,
mm.
HTML formatting, uh, and yeah, it was just very, very basic stuff. And it wasn't until 2007 where I really started to get serious.
Mm.
But the type of SEO I ended up doing originally was black hat SEO. So it was pretty much like, or pretty much anything goes, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, whatever got the rankings.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
Yeah, and you could get it back then as well.
Yeah, and I actually find that the black hat SEOs, when they do, I actually think that a lot of the black hat SEOs are where the talent is, um,
Yeah.
because you have to be ridiculously creative. And
Yes, you do.
I think when I started becoming a little bit better at SEO was when I had my own affiliate site, and you have to take this
Yeah.
illegitimate business. Well, illegitimate from the point of view that it doesn't actually function like a normal business. Not illegitimate that I was
Yeah.
doing anything legally wrong with it, against the government shutting me down, but it wasn't sort of what a normal traditional business looks like on the internet, right? So you just
Yeah.
you're a glorified middleman, and it was actually trying to break through and rank above like the real sites that were actually selling this product legit, like completely their
Yeah.
own product, and outranking them, and then getting
Yeah.
emails of abuse saying, how do you outrank me for my own product on Google? So
Yeah.
I think that being an affiliate and coming from a black hat background, and when you turn white and grey hat, um,
Yeah.
I think that's where I think that it's easier to become. I think you become a lot better because I think you've got that sort of balance. Where if you go like
Yeah.
a Rand Fishkin, which is all these do-goody, we hate the black hat SEOs. Um,
Yeah.
I've spoken strongly about them in the past, but I can appreciate where they come from. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of them are very, very talented. I think they would generally crush a lot of white hat SEOs overall because they've been forced to, in order to survive in that niche, you sort of have to be
Yeah.
super. What would you say about that?
Oh, look, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think in that period of my life, like my skills became much more superior from a technical execution point of view,
Mm.
because the industries I was working in, which was at the time like insurance, uh, yeah, insurance, like pharmaceutical, uh,
Oof. Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
and this like 2007 to 2009, that period. So
Mm.
like by the time I transitioned to white hat, so later on in 2009, I ended up working for Mindshare, and the types of brands they work with, like Rolex and Mazda, like all the blue chip
Yeah.
companies, like you can't do no. But because you know how to do the technical, and like you're in a fast moving environment, like you can just like you can kind of just crush it in there, because you've got the tools, where you've got the money, you've got the
Mm.
budget,
Mm.
you've got the asset.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. So what we like is I think one of our very first conversations I asked you about. Obviously, you're the head of SEO in a
yes.
company in France. Is that right?
Actually, that was in the UK. So
In
I was,
UK. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
what
yeah,
do you find the biggest? And the questions that I sent you before this meeting, I think I've only asked you one so far. I'm throwing you all these questions you
yeah,
weren't prepared for. I want to see how smart you are on your feet there, David. Um,
yeah. It's all,
so what do you find the biggest differences between? And I did ask you this in a previous discussion between the UK SEO companies because I get a lot of UK SEO companies following me on Twitter for some strange reason.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I try to work what they're doing, and I don't really care that much. But what do you what do you sort of find that what they do in the UK is so different than what we do in Australia, and how does the talent sort of Is there a lot more talent overall in the UK compared to what you found in Australia? So, what do you want to do? You want to speak to that?
Yeah, really, really good question. Let me speak first on the technical execution. So, like the markets I was working on in Europe, it was mainly the UK, sometimes the US, and the broader European markets, sometimes the different language markets. The different language markets usually weren't too competitive, except for like Germany. I don't know why Germany wasn't more competitive than the others, but there was some like Spain and Italy, which were quite like you could get away with just writing content and then everything would rank. UK, you had to be on your A game, especially when it comes to link building. And this is the biggest difference I see with the Australian market, because I'll do a backlink check of some of the competitors in an Australian niche, and the links are pretty much either spam, directories, networks, and everything ranks. Whereas in more of the industries that I was working in when I was back in the UK, like the links had to be top tier. They had to be top tier, or you had to have a like really good link structure that either looked natural. Because at the time I was doing a mixture of white hat and black hat, but it was more on the black hat side of things. But yeah, you had to have a lot more powerful links, and the way to get it, we had to be a lot more creative if we didn't want to go down the paid approach. Otherwise, like we just end up paying them at that time. But then when Penguin came out, like Penguin just like it just cleared out. Like, I'd say like 80% of the people who were doing that. Yeah, and it just like turned everything upside down. So the practices that we had to change and adapt to, I've not really seen the same consistency in the Australian market. What are your thoughts on that? Does that sound like a bit similar?
Yeah, well, I mean, every time I get a lead now, I would say that every second or third lead, you look at the work that's been done, and one or two things is either true. One, there's been no work, which is sometimes a lot better. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's ridiculous. Like, for those who don't know, Black Hat SEO goes against Google guidelines, because I actually didn't set this up as a strictly SEO discussion. So there's really good Black Hat SEO, and then there's a Black Hat SEO that I find in Australia, which is just like, which is like outdated pre-Penguin European type sort of. And I went to a meetup once, and one of the guys that used to work in the Google Web Spam, Andre, I believe his name was, he said something that was quite that stuck with me ever since. He said, you haven't seen Black Hat until you've seen the Black Hat that comes out of countries like Poland and Russia. And you just can't, like, these people are so technical, so intelligent, and what they produce that it fools, guys that have PhDs at Google. So I think there's that level of Black Hat. But in Australia, and actually I got one of these questions coming up. What a lot of SEOs are approaching me, the ones that run agencies, there's a big shortage of technical SEO. They like technical SEOs. I actually thought that it would be a struggle to find SEOs that understand the importance of advanced link building and the sort of off-page stuff. I always thought when I was going through sort of the agency days that around me there was pretty decent technical SEOs, but there wasn't many good link builders, right? So, and you've either fell into one or the other camp. So that's so far what I found. And and I don't see that. I don't look at link profiles from the Australian market and go, that's really good. Like, a lot of it's just junk, and it's just a website that's been thrown up on a. I mean, the link networks are so bad. They're using the same anchor text across all the different links, and the content is spun so terribly. Like, it's so crap. Like, it's not even something that you can go, I can admire that sort of creativity. It's sort of. I'm just surprised it
Yeah,
hasn't been
but
banned quicker. Yeah.
like that's what I see as well, because the clients that I was working with in the UK before, like when Penguin came out, uh, like even if we just tried to like flirt on the, let's say, grey hat line,
Mm.
like yeah, like we'd still get the love letters from Google,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you'd get a manual ID,
Yeah.
and then we'd have to go and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas I don't see consistency here.
Yeah.
Uh, it just seems like I don't want to say you can get away with more in Australia, but it just seems like yeah, it's not as consistent compared to being in the US or UK markets
Yeah.
when it comes to link building. Uh, I'd also say now there's a lot more talent in the UK. Just it's more competitive.
Mm.
There's always more people into the industry learning.
Mm.
Uh, Anyone who gets trained in like the gambling industry, pharmaceutical industry, they become very good very quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you can get someone who's an intern, and you know all of a sudden they're surrounded by like these pro SEO guys that have been doing it for however many
Mm.
years. You know, like mastering like gambling rankings,
Mm.
and then pick up the skills, and you know they end up doing the same thing. So yeah, like it's interesting, especially when you see some of the people who are using the like black hat tactics, but using it in a white hat way.
Yeah.
And this is something that, yeah, and this is what the approach I try to use, because the technical execution of black hat SEO, it works.
Mm.
But yeah, but if you don't demonstrate the value, if you don't give value, you know, it's not going to last.
Yeah.
You know, so in my opinion, the value element is what's missing, because it doesn't serve the person, or it doesn't serve the visitor.
Yeah.
It only serves the person who owns the site.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
and I think you raised a good point. I think one of the reasons maybe Australia you can get away with more stuff is probably Google on average doesn't see all that much. Sort of like if it banned every website that had a link from a crappy directory, I mean everyone would be dropped. You know, like because a lot of these directory sites get picked up and they start dumping.
yeah.
You know, I look at links from my clients. I'm like, how do these appear from? You know, where do these appear from? But what did you see in the like what did you see in the UK that from an off-page point of view is there anything actually let me word it this way, has there ever been anything from the UK market where from a black hat point of view you saw someone do and it blew you off your chair, or most of you kind of already knew a lot about it going into the blackout world?
Actually, just the one thing was just hacking into websites.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it was just basically hacking and dropping a link that's invisible, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's always the dodgy one. I mean, it happens anywhere as well. You know, so website security is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Something else that I mean, it's not strictly a part of SEO, but like I'd always advise for that to be an important part. Last thing you want is for your website to be ranked, and then you have a tagline saying that this site might be hacked.
Yeah, 100%. So you've obviously interviewed a lot of like SEOs and stuff through what you're doing.
Yeah.
I liked what Omicito. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. But
yeah.
Checking server logs, and that was actually really good advice for one particular client that I had.
Yeah.
Because you can get obviously page speed analysis and see the different things that are running in the background. But when he said about going looking through server logs, I've gone through server logs, but not in the same way. After I heard that, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I really need to start looking at server logs more. And it's interesting some of the stuff that I found because of it. So I found that particular advice was actually golden. I appreciate you actually interviewing him. What has been some stuff that you've learned from other SEOs that you've interviewed?
Yeah. Well, look,
Bill Slawski.
I'll agree. Yeah. Like Bill Slawski,
Slawski.
like Slawski yourself. Like there was always
I mean,
something great to learn from everybody. But yeah, the server logs and really analyzing things from the technical point of view, because like earlier on in my career, technical was hot. Then it started to change more towards links, and then it started to change more towards content. So then, people kind of started to forget about technical SEO. But like it's really, really important. And Omi Shidu as well, who kept on stressing it with all of his server log analysis. And and Google isn't really trying to game the SEOs. Like the information is there. You just need to know where to look and know how to apply it. So yeah, that one was really really important. Yeah, knowledge graph. Bill Slawski's point of view on knowledge graph, and
Love knowledge
just
graph.
just like Bill Slawski, he just gave everything. Then there were some interesting ones from others who aren't as well known. But there's one guy who does a lot of content, and then he publishes ebooks. So he releases at least one ebook a week, and then off the back of that, been able to just build up like large amounts of traffic to his sites, and just built up himself as an expert. And that's what SEO guys want. It comes down to demonstrating the value. But sometimes we get caught up just focusing on one thing. Like we focus on just getting all the on page right, but we don't look at what is the value we need to demonstrate. Or even like, are we even targeting the right market? And that's another thing that was highlighted through some of the conversations I had, like focusing on the market from the get-go, rather than doing all the work, and then after you do all the work for a year or so, you realize that you've gone in the wrong direction. So yeah, like there's been a lot of gems, thankfully, through talking with different SEOs, and not every SEO is the same. So like there's guys like yourself who specialize more in certain platforms like Magento, compared to others who focus on like WordPress or niche sites. Yeah, so if there's someone who's going to hire someone, you really need to get someone who is the right partner for what you want to achieve. Yes, like more.
And when I did a talk back on May 17, which was funny because I thought mainly business people were coming. That's what they told me, and I found out that in the Q&A, the questions I was getting, you could tell they were SEOs. But one of the questions that I got after was actually the most interesting. Like, one of the guys came up to me and said, like, what do you do for startup SEO? What do you do differently for startup SEO? And it actually threw me back because I knew it's either a BS an answer, or I'll tell him the truth. And you're exactly right. I think that this is why, like, talking with SEOs that like come from different sort of backgrounds, if they're willing to share, and sort of you can create something very powerful, right? Because when he asked me about that, I just told him straight out, look, I think I've worked on over 1,000 sites in my career, and maybe I can think of 5 that was in the startup phase. Probably a lot less. I mean, I can think of about 5, but then I look at things, maybe they're not even really startup as in the way he's defining it. He's defining it as like, we just started this business like 2 weeks ago. So I think the question he said raises even a bigger problem, like that we need to start sort of collaborating a lot more as marketers. But for me, I just told him straight out, I would feel I would probably say no to startup clients because I just don't have the experience. And I think, do you have much experience with the startup SEO?
Yeah, I do, but it's very challenging, and like with any new startup, you like the startup takes time to develop the business model, to develop the processes, get the budget to make things like work. And there are cases where it does work. I did work with one startup client probably about 5 years ago, and we succeeded with what they wanted to achieve. But they had about 10 or 15 years experience in the industry, so they knew exactly what they were going to do. So the startup phase running, but then they just budget.
And that's what you were mentioning before. What you were mentioning before too, David. Like, you kind of have to, like, technical SEO for a 5-page site isn't where you need to focus your time, and server logs isn't where you need to focus. I found that particularly interesting for very large e-commerce sites. And just large sites in general. But this is where you really got to have like a sort of perspective. I mean, what's going to get the most amount of value in the short term? You got to demonstrate it. But that's why now if it's something that I don't have a lot of experience in, unless I have a team that I can feel confident can get results, I'm not taking them on. I just don't want to have any clients that I'm like. One client I can remember back in my career where, he threw everything in, and I was only probably maybe a 4-year SEO, and maybe even less. And the company that I was working for signed me to that campaign, and we didn't get results, and the guy lost his business. And ever since that, it's just plagued me everywhere I've gone, and it's sort of I don't know, like I've struggled to get over it, and because this is the guy that started a business, I'm sure he threw everything at it, and I don't take blame. I think a lot of circumstances and things like that wasn't handled from the agency point of view. I didn't handle it very well. There's a lot of factors he shouldn't have threw. Like, there's a lot of factors, right? But the fact is, this guy lost his business, and God knows what else he lost, right? So, and I know there would be more, because I think he basically went bankrupt because we just couldn't get the results in the time that he wanted it. So, what would you say that's a bit like? What advice would you give for startups then? Because from my point of view, is that question that threw you off a bit? But no, you like that question?
It's a great question because like I've written about this on my blog.
Fantastic.
Back when I started my agency, and like the first thing I always say is you need to choose the right partner. Like it's not a one size fits all.
Absolutely.
Like somebody who's got experience with big branded sites, they're not going to know how to drive their sales and focus on like the low hanging fruit for the startups. Like when they really need it, and they're not going to have the experience with working with small budgets. So they might not even have the creativity to work with like smaller budgets and smaller resources. Like that the person might have experience with like larger budgets, access to larger resources, access to larger teams. But if it's a one-man band or two people, in the startup just trying to figure out how to make things work. And if they don't even have this model yet, like you need somebody who's got that startup business savvy. So first thing is you need to find the right person and make sure that they are a match for the type of goal.
And you would think this would be common sense, but it's not. It's really not, because especially from the client perspective, and how many agencies are saying we don't think you're the sort of, when most agencies would probably say you're not the right type of client for us from a budget point of view, which is a legitimate issue. But at the same time, not many people are saying, because of your niche or where you're currently sitting in your business journey, we don't think we're the right fit. How many businesses are actually saying that, right? But from a client perspective, they need to know this. This is not common. This is not something I hear clients. I mean, the few clients that have called in the last few weeks basically haven't even got their head around what SEO even is entirely, let alone, hang on, I need a specific sort of SEO. And I think you basically set out my content for the next 2 months. I think I want to write about this because I think it's important I don't know if I'm going to write about it. Maybe I'll speak about it. But yeah, no, I think you raised it perfectly. I think you raised something that it sounds like it's common sense, and people hear it and go, oh, yeah, it makes sense. But when you start talking to clients,
Yeah, and the other thing is you need to know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, it sounds like common sense, but most people, especially in Australia, I notice. I don't know if you notice it as well, but they say I need SEO, and then the next thing they'll say is I need someone to manage my Google ads.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's pretty.
and then yeah, and even if I speak with someone and they say that they're doing it, they'll just say, "Oh, my Google guy is doing it." So immediately I know that they don't really know or understand what they've got themselves into.
Yeah.
And then they're paying someone to do something. So it's a checkbox exercise, which I understand, but education is it's really needed. And what's the realistic expectation? Like, are you in a niche where you can get results, in the first 30 days, in 90 days, and in 6 months, or is it something that's really a long-term game? So going back to when I was in the insurance space, and I had to optimize for keywords. It was car insurance, caravan insurance, like landlord insurance, property insurance, like all that kind of stuff, fun stuff.
Very fun.
And yeah, and the client was promised by the guy who sold the contract that they would be live on page one within, I think it was within a month. I think they promised back in 2008 when the update happened once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So that just put us on the back foot, and then they just kept on taking the money from the clients, and this is what kept on happening throughout a lot of places that I worked throughout my career. I worked for some of the really big agencies, and they put their financial interests first before the client, and that's where I have the problem. I mean, there's a problem with taking money in exchange for delivering a service, but make sure you deliver the service and deliver what you promise.
Yeah.
And reasons SEO guys have a bad rep in the industry is because people, they don't deliver on what they promise.
But that's where more education and videos come from people like us to sort of, it's not our fault that the issues happened, and it's not our fault that the industry has a bad rep, but we can go and do something about it. Like we can write more content about it, which I think some of us are. But I think videos like this will go a long way. I just released an article on LinkedIn saying the 3 common mistakes clients make when choosing an SEO. And do you know what? Out of the 3, do you know what was and I would say in the last 6 years, what has been the biggest reason why clients haven't signed up to us or to work with me in particular? You know, the number one, it wasn't price. It was you delegate too much work to me. Because when I map out the strategy, right, and they say, "Oh, I'm sort of paraphrasing a few, 20, 30 people that no, definitely said it. Are you saying that I can't work with you because you're basically going to give us too much work to do each month? Translation: I just want to pay you money. I want you to do it all. I don't even want to know about it, which is transparency, which is another issue, right? Which is one of my reasons. At a price, delegation of work and transparency, I think it's the price that I found not necessarily being really at the top of the 3. I think it's one of the 3, but it isn't the main. Delegation of work, clients just look at it and go, but I'm paying you money. And look, I don't know how you do, like how you structure the SEO, but for me, the best results that I've ever been able to achieve is working with the client to sort of get certain things done that, we would do in the black hat world, where we would manipulate this process. In the white hat world, from my understanding, the way I do SEO is we need the CEOs and the business savvy executives to start saying, hey, we need this link. Like with the Bing, when I was working with Bing Lee, man, like, and I can't call up Sony and say, give me a link. They're just going to hang the phone up on me. Who am I? But by educating the client, Lionel, to go, you need to call Sony, you need to call Samsung. This is what you should say. Don't talk. This is where the link should go. This is the most likely place we're going to get a link. Like where to buy, that way we've been able to get some of the best links we've ever actually, rather than hacking a site, which is the black hat way. but you would get them legitimately, right? So, I mean. When clients turn around, and we've actually developed a client acquisition model. So if they say to us, you know, we don't like you telling us to do all this work each month, I'm saying, so essentially you don't obviously either one understand the importance of the work that we're going to ask you to do. So maybe it's a communication problem on our end, but this is your business too. Don't you want to be involved? Like if someone brings you up on the phone and says, David, give me $500 a month, I'll turn you a millionaire into 6 months. You would hang up the phone faster than the guy could call you. But for some reason in the SEO sales process, when it comes from the client that expects, oh, hang on, you want me to do stuff? I thought I could just pay you money and the same result would happen. It's if a princess kisses a frog, it turns into a human. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's a fairy tale, but depending upon the perspective it comes from, there's a sort of there's a suspended amount of belief in and so that has been that's probably the top reason why clients haven't signed up.
I just want to expand on that as well, because I always strive to get whoever I'm working with to see it in a way that we're working in a partnership. So
exactly.
So like I'm bringing my skills to the table, and I'm going to use my skills or my team skills to leverage the assets that they have.
Absolutely.
So that could be people within the business, the USP, like the products that they have, their networks, whatever it might be.
100%.
And they need to be committed to to leading the strategy, whereas I'd say I would give them guidance and direction, and also do the implementation. But there's only so much an external expert can do. A lot more of it has to be done internally. So like you said, you'll delegate certain things to the business, and if they're serious about achieving what they want to achieve, they will do it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, our best clients will always be, if we send them to do A, B, C, and D, next month has come back and D, E, and F is also done, that we didn't ask them because they get it. What would you say, this is the next question that I had for you. What do you think a business savvy, because I actually did a video on one of the things you should look for in SEOs. I did the opposite, right? And I said one of the points, I've got to go back and have the other three, but one of the points I mentioned was the importance of having an SEO with a bit of business savviness. What would you say? What would you say about
that? Essential.
No.
There's a few things that, in my opinion, you have to have if you're even going to call yourself an SEO, or even just some kind of marketer. Marketer, you need sales skills. If you don't have sales skills, you don't understand the sales process. And if you understand the sales process, you don't understand the consumer journey. SEO is one tactic that's used to generate the sale. So if you don't understand how to close a sale, then how can you do it? The second thing is you have to have technical skills. If you've never built a website, sorry, not a website, but if you've never built an HTML page, how on earth are you going to understand how search engine crawlers work? So it's just like really basic.
And when I started, coming from a web development background was such a head start in 2007 because it was so strong in Australia. It was pretty much technical SEO was the game, right?
It's the same.
And now, like, I mean, I reckon I'm lucky enough to sort of, and you yourself as well, we've kind of evolved with the industry. So we've learned what we had to learn as it going on.
Exactly.
My advice, and I want to get your advice on what you believe, my advice now for juniors coming into SEO would be they need to at least, as you said, call themselves a marketer, at least have a website and have an affiliate one, if you could, preferably an affiliate. That's what I would recommend they do. And get around other SEOs as much as you can, and just be a sponge. Don't ask questions. Keep your head down. Shut up. And I mean, don't answer back, sort of thing. Just ask them questions and then shut up, and then don't. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just going to expand on what you said, and it brings me to the third point about the business savviness. So, like, if you've never even run a small business, like even just a small hobby website that generates sales, or one for someone else, or even if it's a startup, or you've bought a website and then you've just been able to manage it to understand exactly like what goes into keeping a online business running, So even like at the basic level, just participating in an affiliate program, and setting up web, like basic level, and at least you'll start to get some understanding of what it takes to generate a sale. Because like I'll be honest, like for someone to sell their SEO skills as a service, and then get a bit of money for it, that's achievable. It's not that difficult. Trying to sell something that nobody knows about, and then trying to demonstrate value, and then trying to get people to vouch for it, and making a profit, that's an entirely different challenge.
That is like you have to experience that feeling. I made $100 selling açaí, which is like berry from Brazil, and that was the best $100 I've ever made, because I wasn't even selling anything. What was I selling? I was selling someone else's product that they happened to click on, right? And go to it. They would have gone to that destination anyway and bought it, but I've wasted them a click. Now, I laugh because I find that the whole affiliate thing pretty funny, right? When you think about it, right? Just a glorified middleman. But sort of, for me, making that $100 taught me one crucial thing is the importance of content. So this is all I did. I would go to Google Suggest. I would find what people were searching for in RCE. So where do I buy RCE? I did an article on it. Sent it off to the Philippines. Got an article. Sent it back. Where to buy it? I mean, this is basic affiliate stuff. But you wouldn't have learned it otherwise. But it also taught me. It also shaped one of my biggest strategies now around content marketing, which is business, which is what does the people want, and give it to, like, from a content marketing point of view, and a branding point of view. When I was working with Bing Lee, some of the strategies I would come up with is like grandma typing into Google, what is the difference between an LCD and an LED TV? You talked about the buying cycle. If someone's typing that keyword, they're in a different mindset than as opposed to someone typing in LCD, Samsung TV, model number 4X. That person's ready to buy. It's coming down to a few other factors, price and customer service. But when someone is searching for, like, what is the difference, this is a great opportunity for your branding, for traffic, and for a potential returning visit sale, right? The second time around, with the attribution modeling and all that sort of fancy shit that we won't talk about. But I mean, I learned all this sort of stuff that I would eventually use later on in my job based on what I learned from affiliate marketing. Was pump 10 articles around what people are searching for, which all it came from was Google Suggest Tool. That's all I used. Okay? Right? I didn't use any other like crazy expensive keyword research tool. I went from 0 to 600 people, and I made $100. And it was the best $100 I've ever made, and that's why I'm shaking the camera, because I'm getting excited. What Yeah. So I don't know how much time you have, but if you want to say anything on that, like go for it. Otherwise, I'll move on
Yeah.
to the next question.
No, yeah, because I completely agree with that as well. Uh, it's much tougher to sell to a cold audience,
Yeah.
and especially if there's something that has no credibility, like how on earth are you going to transition the mindset and
Mm.
like switch up from understanding the customer from a buying point of view to getting endorsed from a link building point of
Mm.
view. Like yeah, that's the only way you'll learn. Uh, and another thing is like if you want to learn quickly, uh, you have to implement. You have to implement and get instant feedback. So yeah, without
100%.
that, you're just not going to know.
100%.
So yeah, you put something on a forum, like people will tell you, you publish a blog post and there's a strong opinion, people will give you feedback. Yeah, and that feedback mechanism allows you to make the improvements quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, actually, like one other thing I'd go a step further is using other channels to get as much data as possible that you can use to fuel your SEO strategy.
Mm.
So now, now I'm using more paid channels to at least get the data
Mm.
and get the data as possible, and then use that data in creative ways to either improve the rankings, improve the traffic, get more endorsements, find more keyword opportunities. Because, like with the niche opportunity, people will just look at like keyword planner, yeah,
Mm.
or they'll
Mm.
get some other keyword tool. Yeah, but then if you run a paid search campaign, like some of the insights you can get include the types of keywords people are searching for, especially long tail, the locations they're searching from. So then you can start to look at geo targeting campaigns, uh, look at demographics, interest insights, and it's just stuff that the traditional SEO tools they don't give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you use things like Google AdWords, Display Network, you use like Facebook ads, you can get that additional insight, and then you can use that in your campaign. And also validating that what you're doing is actually working. So like if you do guest blog posts, for example, yeah, we do it for a link building exercise, but if we do it and we start seeing that the traffic is coming through, and then if we see that if that traffic is actually generating a sale, like we know we're onto something.
Yeah.
So getting that additional insight through data is that's something that I find to be really important, but it's something that a lot of people still overlook, unfortunately.
Very, very, very good stuff. Well, that's probably a bit advanced though, like for the average person. But I think that's really good information, mate. Where do you think social media will play in terms of SEO in the future? This is not a question I had prepared for you, but um,
Yeah.
what? Again, I'm keeping you on your toes to make it interesting for everybody. Um,
Well, no, this is great because actually I'm going to cite my wife's work. So
Fantastic. You have the permission.
yeah, so my wife she's built an incredible brand for her audience through social media, and like she isn't from an SEO background. She was a hairdresser before, so she was a hairdresser and has developed all of these skills and mainly used social media to achieve it. The one thing I'd say is you need to know where your audience is and then give your audience what they want.
Mm.
So at the moment, I'm seeing a bigger trend with audiences being in niche groups on Instagram and being really engaged on Instagram
Mm.
compared to Facebook a few years ago, where it was Facebook groups and Facebook pages.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more online now.
Yeah.
But whatever the platform might be, you need to know where your niche is and where they're hanging out. it's always been that way in SEO because before it used to be people hanging out on certain blogs, people hanging out in certain forums, uh, people hanging out on certain Q&A sites, and just going back to some of the stuff my wife has done. You know, she built up a massive following on YouTube. So she built up on YouTube, has built a sizable following on Instagram, sizable following on Facebook, and I think also on Pinterest as well. Yeah, so like she's been building up these groups up. Yeah, Snapchat as well. Yeah, so it's just where her audience market, and you need to know where your market is,
100%.
and then just give one, and then you can use the audience to help with your SEO stuff. So actually, I'm just gonna quickly slide into the audience driven stuff. Like once you've got the audience, it just makes things so much easier.
100%.
You know, so yeah, if you want that head start, get the audience, and you can either leverage other people's audiences, or you can build your own and build it through certain channels. And if you use social media to do that, at least the people will engage with you. You're not 100% reliant on Google as well. Yeah, so
diversification is so important now, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and like your bets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you want the audience to help you, to help improve your SEO rankings, then you can just send an email and say, look, can you promote like this link on my site?
100%.
Like if you've got a following of like 100,000 people,
Man.
like there's a good you're gonna get like 1,000 links, and I don't care what anyone says. If you're a one-man band SEO guy, you're not gonna get 1,000 links overnight.
No.
Well, I mean, without the soft tools that you don't want to use.
Yeah, well, getting links from legitimate businesses and getting links that are related to you, getting 1,000 links in 6 months is a great achievement. Let alone like building an audience around people that are interested in your product. And what me and you were talking off camera when we were talking about doing this, I mean, my audience is not SEOs. Unless I do this with you and maybe dump it on a platform where there's SEOs to critic, because I'll just criticize. SEOs love criticizing everything, right? But it's just the nature of the beast, mate. Which is fine. But I'm not. A lot of my content now is about social media to the complainers that hate their job. Don't want to do anything. Like they've got all these sort of, like, they might be into gaming, or they might be into various different topics. And I'm like, do you even know how big Twitch TV is? Like, they know that it's big, but they don't know how big it really is, right? And like, a lot of the social media stuff outside the search engine optimization stuff, I'm more targeting it at not even just the business. Business people are yes, it is more now geared towards, I've got the Facebook group now, and I'll be like, if you're not producing, well, my advice for social media and search engine optimization is to produce a long form written article. If you're a cleaner, what is the 3 best ways to clean a granite benchtop? I just think of this because my granite benchtop at home is dirty and yellow, right? So I'm actually looking for a really good article on how to clean it. Then go through a long form article, explain what products I should be using, what chemicals, what sponges, like what should I be doing it clockwise, counter, shit like that. And then having and then having a YouTube video that you host there, incorporating it into the video. That simple strategy, if you do that over, like, obviously off the back of what people are searching for on Google and on YouTube search, you do that like every week, produce an article like that, you're going to increase visitors. And you're going to do 3 things. You get more views on your social media because you've got the video hosted somewhere on like YouTube, and you can sort of split it and share it on Facebook and Instagram. You've got a long form article on your own website, which is improving the SEO. And when Google crawls a website, it's going to know that video is going to rank better around a long form article that it can understand. So even within Google video search, not just when you're going to solve 3 problems. Like, and I'm sure if you produce, that's how I think of mashing them sort of together. And you mentioned about the audience, which is just like a no-brainer, right? But it's so powerful to build an audience. But Yeah, I don't know. What if you want to say on that?
Oh, look, yeah, it is. Like out of all the things I've done in my career, like once you've got the audience, it just makes things so much easier. And a lot of people neglect that.
100%.
So so if you want to get, whether it's PR opportunities, link acquisition opportunities, you want to get spikes in your website traffic. Uh, you want to get more referrals. Like you need to have access to an audience. Like there aren't any shortcuts. Businesses always talk about growth. Like how do we get
Growth
growth?
hacks. It makes me puke in my mouth,
Yeah.
man, because
Yeah.
business is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your business and you want to grow sales, you need to get more traffic or you increase prices. And growing traffic is normally what people want. And then the way to get traffic is you either pay for it or you earn it. And
Right on.
most people most people want to earn it, but then they don't have anything to give.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Stop talking like this. I'm never going to stop. 100%. People think, or on the flip side to that, just because you produce an article, you mean everyone thinks everyone has to read it.
Yeah.
Most
don't care about at least 90% of the content on the internet. Nobody cares.
100%, man. Just because your lips moving doesn't mean people want to listen to you.
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of testing. I'm sure you do as well. And with a lot of the content that I know I personally write, like it's about 20% of the content that does well. Yeah. So it's all about finding the unicorns and the stuff that you think is gonna do. Sometimes you do everything perfect, and then nobody cares. Like people will either validate it or they won't. But then later on, there's content that you might not think is going to do that well, and all of a sudden it blows up. I mentioned to you previously about the Korean kid video that went viral, and just from a simple idea from being on holidays that generated 5 million views on YouTube.
Fantastic achievement, buddy. Well done. Send it to me, and I'll link it in the Facebook video because you have to send it to me, link it to me again, because I know you have 5 million views. The last time I looked at it wasn't 5 million, so it means it's exploded even more since I looked at it.
Yeah, you just don't know what's going to resonate with people. But if you don't put this stuff out there, you'll never know.
100%.
So
that's
what you need to do there.
And what's interesting, because I just know a lot of gamers, right? My brother-in-law and all the rest of them. Like, I'm telling them, like, you're going to play these games anyway, right? You were on holidays. Want to produce content anyway, right? But if you're a business, if you're not producing content, I like to help clients, especially the small businesses, like I said, merge social as well as SEO into one. Like that article can do a bit of both of things, backed on what people are searching for, right, and what people are going to find helpful. But it's getting into the mindset of not what you telling them what they should be reading, but what does that market really want? But I explained to my brother-in-law, who's a massive gamer, like there's more people now watching watching people play games than actually playing the freaking game, right? So if you, and he's got a pretty good personality, so I said if you think about how much content you would have built naturally. Right, you got to do a bit of work. You got to work hard, like you said. Like you just can't just do a video and people are going to watch it. Right, it's got to be something that sticks out. But if you got good production, you got good production value. You can speak well. You're funny. You're a bit witty. You're clever. I mean, there's more people, like TV. People watching TV is going down. People watching social media is going up. Right, the only TV that's going to survive is the OTT stuff like Netflix, I think Channel 10, Channel 7 are dead men walking, really. I mean, and I don't feel sorry for them at all because, they've had all the opportunity to change and adapt, and they just seem to think, oh, well, Facebook and Snapchat and YouTube is just a bunch of 13-year-olds taking selfies. It's just a lot more.
Yeah, but that generation, they're going to become adults. they're going to be the ones who are going to just pioneer things.
100%. It's all user behavior, my friend. I don't get emotional about shit. I just see what users are doing. Like I said to my client, if SEO, he asked me what happens if, which I want to ask you, what do you think? I've got a big tough question for you coming up, which
yeah.
But he said, what happens if SEO dies? Well, I said theoretically it won't, but let's just say for argument's sake it does. I'll just go with the attention is.
Like that's it. Like just to answer the will SEO die question, like, the people have been saying that for years, and no, it won't die, but it won't be the same as it is now, and it's not the same as it was.
Yeah.
So, like, it still plays a part in the consumer journey.
Yeah.
Then, like, you need to go to where the audience is. You know, like, whereas, like like one of the things I do as well. You know, I optimize ebooks on Amazon in order to drive sales.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's where one of the that's where one of the attention centers are.
Absolutely.
Like, it depends are looking. My wife, again, like, she's optimized her pins on Pinterest because that's where her market is.
100%.
You need to know where your market is.
100%,
man. Like if you're not doing it for where your market hangs out, like, forget it. You know, it's not going to work. You know, and there's people doing it for Instagram. I don't have the skills for Instagram, but I understand the importance of it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to get seen, you need somebody who knows how to get visibility on that platform if that's where your audience hangs out. But it comes down to knowing where your audience hangs out. You know, like, don't try to promote to the ghost town.
Exactly, man. If there's no one, it's like, you know, and a bit like I've just come up with a quote. It's like going to a nightclub, being asked to dance, and you're turning around saying, "I'm not in the mood." That's that's just the environment that businesses in when they ignore content and they ignore social media. For me, though, what everyone is sort of panicking, I think now more than ever, is because of, which I bought one, the Amazon. I think Google Home is structured a little bit different, and I got to get into Google Home in all honesty. But I got into Amazon Echo thinking Amazon will be the leader in sort of shopping-based queries. You'd be brushing your teeth one day and you run out of Colgate, and as soon as you run out of Colgate, it's already ordered you another one, right? So that's undoubtedly coming, but the way in which the algorithm works on, which I don't know, with the Amazon, I don't know how much of you know about it, but with the Amazon skills is a little bit different than SEO traditionally, where it's relied on going out to the internet, pulling the results and separating it based on an algorithm. So far, Amazon Echo is based on a skill set. So you can only listen to our content if you subscribe to me. Will it change?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you subscribe to my Amazon skill, you'll get weekly SEO tips on how to improve your website's visibility, right? If that becomes the dominant way we search, then what do you think is going to happen to SEO?
Oh, look, if that's going to be the where people are focusing, you need to adapt.
That's it, man.
Like,
that's it.
I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, he says, adapt or die.
Well, that's business, man. That's just business. You have to adapt. I always say that I break it down with the acronym, like, search is timeless. We're never going to stop searching. We'll be searching for antiquity. We need to find things. Okay, like finding stuff is essential. The engines will evolve. So where's the next engine? Is it going to be how we search on Google? That, you know, how's that going to change and play out? That's going to evolve. But the optimization process is the word you just said. It will just adapt. But if it goes full hard scale into that level, then that's even more of the reason that you need to start building a brand when the market's still wide open. But then what happens to social media, where you still got to depend somewhat on a traditional algorithm? This is what I don't know. But that's why I'm on voice. I'm on voice because right now there's not many people doing it. There's not many SEOs in Australia that are producing content on it. And I thought that it would be just something very interesting to sort of learn, so I could sell it myself one day as a full-on service. But yes, so I don't know. What do you got anything you want to say about that, or we? You got anything you want to say about that?
No, that, but I think just to finish up on that topic is if that is the trend and you see your audience like going towards that trend, you just have to adapt.
Well, that's it,
Yeah,
man.
like go to where the audience is and give them what they're asking for. Like people tell you what they want, like like there's no secrets. Like people will be vocal. If they don't like it, they'll let you know. So
100%.
yeah.
And the thing is, like, I was just talking with another mate that I'll be interviewing as well. He suffers from this perfection sort of thing, right? So unless the video's right, the camera. I mean, look how much we mucked around to try to get this right, man. Like,
Yep.
I don't care because I know when you come on and you start talking, I know you'll bring value to people that will listen to you. That are, even more so the people that are interested in the topic, and that have businesses. But like one thing that I like about you mentioned Gary, what he mentioned once that really struck home is you just want to get shit done. Like the amount of like with clients, it's the same thing. Like a lot of them, which I understand in some way, but a lot of them are crippled, and so is my friend, by wanting that perfect piece of article. We're not launching it until it's perfect. Where a lot of other very intelligent business people would say it's all MVP, man. It's launch the minimum viable product and then build on it after.
That's
I mean,
sorry, but yeah, like that's exactly it. And in the last couple of years, like I've really focused more on the minimum viable product, and I've actually had to ask like clients, I had to be frank with them. If you want results, you have to go with the minimum viable product approach.
100%.
And time, and like if they wanted the perfect product up front, it just slowed us down too much, and sometimes we've just had to say, look, sorry, the right people that you should be working with, and like, yeah, you need to have the minimum viable product. You have to get things out with speed. Like everything is happening so fast nowadays, and if you just look at let's just say musicians nowadays compared to musicians in the 90s. Like musicians in the 90s, they could spend like 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years producing an album. Like those days are gone. Like you drop a hit this week, you need a new hit by next week.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's relevant today isn't relevant tomorrow, man. And you're only as good as your last week, right?
Last hour.
Last hour, man. 100%. So what?
Yeah.
What would you say for those that? Because we did touch on it, but I did have another sort of question about it. How would you help the next? What would be your advice for those that want to start a business in today's market? Like, I know it depends upon the niche and that. Let's just talk broad. So, what would you say for people that want to start a business, and especially even in digital, but just in general? And what would you say to those wanting to get into SEO? So, there's two questions there for you.
Yeah. Anyone getting into business, like, know exactly what is your niche, and then find your micro niche. Especially if you're entering a competitive market. If it's a new emerging market, you might be able to get away with it. So like crypto, I mean it's not really new at the moment, but then there's new ICOs coming up. So then if there's a new crypto coin that comes up, then you can have that first mover advantage because like there's nothing on the topic. But a simple one is if you're a new dentist, if you're a new dental practice, and all of a sudden you're a dental practice in Sydney, there's heaps of dental practices in Sydney. What's going to make you stand out from the crowd? Are you going to focus on porcelain veneers? Are you going to focus on the perfect smile? Are you going to focus on teeth whitening for women aged between 18 to 30 years old? Like what is the niche that you're going to go after, and then just focus on that, at least while you're in the growth stage. And the advice for people getting into SEO: first thing, build a website and get some business savvy, get business experience. Sorry, and third thing, learn how to sell. Sorry, I'm going to add, learn how to write sales copy. It's essential. Yeah. So, like,
Fantastic.
at least do those, and then at least you'll be on the right track.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I put up that was a fantastic amount of advice there. I just put up a post on LinkedIn that talked about, everyone tells me, rings me up, Andrew, we want to be number one. And we want to be number one.
Yeah.
They tell me that they want to be number one, but they never tell me why they should deserve to be number one. Very few will go
Yeah.
into the why. Okay, so if I say to them, so what's different about you than everybody else? That little bit of hesitation to me just says, well, there's really nothing. You just sort of just,
Yeah.
you want to be number one because it's great to be there. But, you know, like, if you're going to, for me, if you're going to start a business and your goal is to take out market share and eat a cookie that established businesses have already been chewing on, and you want to come over and you want to take a piece of their cookie, you have to start doing something that is going to be different, because they're not just going to move over and shove over. Oh, there's a new business here. Why don't you come and eat some of our cookie? No one does that, right?
Yeah.
So, and look, the whole hustle hard, I believe in it all, but you really got to have skills. That's just you got to have the skills. And at the moment, you know, becoming an entrepreneur is this over glamified sort of topic at the moment, but it's mate, I lost 30 grand in my first year. That was my entire savings. Right?
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. I just started because I thought, well, everyone has businesses. Why can't I do it?
Yeah.
And don't get it. My advice is have people around you build good, closed businesses, and try to get a mentor of some sort. Ask someone you can at least ask questions. Everything you said is spot on about the business thing, but get around people that have done it. Talk, and before you start, and then if you still want to start after they're telling you you're going to go to bed, you're going to think about work, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to be thinking about work. I've got my kid over my shoulder, and I'm replying to emails. I don't watch TV anymore. I go to bed. I talk to my wife. I do a bit of work, then I go to bed. Right? It's like I don't do anything other than pretty much work. And I come to work tired sometimes because it's just a constant thing, right? So get around people that would be my advice. Because when I got into business, I didn't have the natural entrepreneur instinct. I didn't sell lemonade when I was 6 years old. I didn't flip baseball cards, NRL cards. But and that's why I lost a lot of money in the first year. A lot of money, all of my money, basically.
Like entrepreneurship is it's very tough. You know, it's not for everybody,
No.
and you also need to have an attitude where you can't give up, but you're also willing to learn and learn how to overcome. And these entrepreneurship skills are what you need to be a good SEO guy, or guy or
100%.
girl.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right.
Like if something knocks everything out, like one algorithm update finishes everything. Okay, all right. I've been having a setback. How do I move forward?
Absolutely, man. It's a tough gig, and then obviously then you got other variables like how competitive is that niche, how what are you trying to break into, and all the rest of it. But before you get into that, you've got a lot of sort of mental objectives to get over. And if you're going to go down the road, you're going to get funded, or you're going to try to boost capital yourself. It comes. Do you have? Thank you so much for your time. But before you go, do you have is anything you want to sum up? Any final David James thoughts for everybody?
On the David James thoughts.
That's a new segment for you, man. For your YouTube stuff. Actually, and obviously how people can find you and talk to you and all the rest of it. I'm a terrible host, man. You're going to have to fill in the gaps for me too, bro.
Yeah, it's all good. So, Yeah, just to sum up, just try to execute. Yeah, so whatever you're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship, SEO, execute, execute quickly with a minimum viable product, or like minimum viable content, for lack of a better word, minimum viable links, whatever it is, and just keep on test, learn, uh, and then optimize and improve. And also, uh, also look at the strategy that you're implementing. Understand that you need to give it time because you're building something. That's something that's really important. You're building campaigns in the same way you build a business. Everyone wants to get the result. You want to get the return on investment in 1 month. You want to make that $10,000 in 30 days. Everybody wants it. Like, we get that. Not everybody wants to build it. So are you the person who's prepared to build something that's going to change the fate of your business and your livelihood, or do you just want to get the result? If you only want to get the result, there might be some people who can help you, but if you're prepared to build a result with the right partners, you will definitely get there. And patience is needed, but when it happens, you'll get everything that you wanted and even more. And if you want to find me, feel free to contact me at david@businessgrowthdigitalmarketing.com. You can follow me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Business Growth Digital Marketing. On Twitter, I'm at BGD_marketing as well. So yeah, if you have any questions or you'd like to get some thoughts or insights, feel free to drop me a line. As you can see, chatting passionate SEO topics is something that I like to do, especially with Andrew, who is a champ. So yeah, Andrew, thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. And can you, after this, send me a message, all your links and everything, and I'll add it there in the description after. Thanks so much, buddy. I really do appreciate your time, and I definitely enjoy exchanging ideas with other SEOs. I think this is the direction that I really want to go. I really enjoy it. I probably got to learn to listen more.
That's good. Just sparks flying everywhere.
It's just the passion, man. It's the Greek passion in my hands. I can't settle down. But yeah. I definitely like to listen to, and I want to start listening better and learn more from people, because one thing I've learned in the last 11 years is how much I still don't know. So, and I just want to surround myself with as many smart, intelligent marketing people, business people, SEOs, as many as I possibly can, and just shut up and listen to them. And this is me in 11 years. Imagine the junior kid breaking into the market. What the hell should that person do? So thanks.
Well, this is I'll just quickly finish up on that. It's really important to keep on learning, like no matter what stage you are
100%.
In your career. I mean, in my case, my official last working title was head of SEO, and I was also pretty much a business director, managing someone else's agency before I started my own. And you're just always learning. There's always something new. Markets change. You just have to adapt. The moment you're content with not learning is the moment you've lost in the game.
100%.
So you just always have to be on the front foot.
That's some real talk right there, brother. That's all right. Thanks a lot, David. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thanks. All right, see ya.
See you later.